Welcome back to Pursuit of Truth, still the 8th. This is going to be, I think, the longest the most podcasts I've done in one day. So we're going to go to Sky News, and they're talking about this case. The reason why I wouldn't normally bring it to you, because you've heard a lot of it, but they've changed his name now. His name's not David Ian Long, it's Ian David Long. And also they're now saying he was known to the police. So yeah, let's just play this. Make your mind up yourselves.
Hello, good afternoon. A gunman who killed 12 people in a mass shooting at a bar in Southern California has been named as Ian David Long. The 28-year-old is a former Marine. Police say he appears to have shot people at random inside the Borderline Bar and Grill in Thousand Oaks. Audio has emerged of the moment he opened fire. Well, the bar had been hosting a college country music night and was packed with hundreds of people. Witnesses described running for their lives after using chairs to break windows to escape. A sheriff's sergeant, who was the first officer to enter the bar, was among those shot dead. Police say they'd had previous minor contact with the gunman.
We've had several contacts with Mr. Long over the years, minor events such as a traffic collision. He was a victim of a battery at a local bar in 2015. In April of this year, deputies were called to his house for a subject disturbing. They went to the house, they talked to him. He was somewhat irate, acting a little irrationally. They called out our crisis intervention team, our mental health specialist, who met with him, talked to him, and cleared him, didn't feel that he was qualified to be taken under 5150, and he was left at that scene last April. Deputies are at the house now. They have secured the residence, and they're seeking a search warrant to do a thorough search of the house. The weapon used in this horrific shooting was a Glock 21 .45 caliber handgun. The handgun is designed to hold, in California, 10 rounds and one in the chamber. This weapon did have a extended magazine on it. We do not know at this time how many rounds were actually in the weapon or how many rounds the magazine could actually hold. It appears he walked up to the scene. He shot the security guard that was standing outside. He stepped inside. It appears that he turned to the right and shot several of the other security and employees there, and then began opening fire inside the nightclub.
Well, our US correspondent Greg Milam is at the scene for us. Greg, so more information emerging from the sheriff there about the gunman, but we still don't know about those victims.
No, we don't. The police say they won't give us names of those victims until they've been fully identified, and of course their family members have been informed of that terrible news. They also say at the moment they don't have an idea of a motive. The FBI has begun to search Ian Long's mother's home. It's only a couple of miles away from here, and they will hope that they will find some sign of a motive in there. The police say, although the shooting inside the bar behind me was random, they don't believe it was randomly targeted. They don't believe he just stumbled upon this place. They believe there must have been some reason for coming here, and the police saying he must have had some sort of issue, in their words, going on inside his head. But as for those victims, clearly very difficult for a number of families who are still waiting to hear from people who were in that bar last night, upwards of 150 people according to the police. And some of the extraordinary stories that we've heard of people getting away from that gunman. This is what some of them were telling us a little earlier today.
I was on the dance floor dancing at the time, and then all my friends were at the table right by the door. And then I heard the gunshot. I turned around and I saw him shoot a couple more times. And within a split second, everyone yelled, "Get down." So I ran to the left of the dance floor where the back door is, and everyone pretty much dogpiled on top of each other. And then it was silent for a couple seconds, and then all of a sudden, a couple guys that were closer to the bar, they got up and started running towards the back door and said, "Get up, he's coming." And so it was huge panic. Everyone tried getting up, and then trampled a couple times. Some guy came behind me, lifted me up and said, "Let's go." And then I got a bar stool thrown at my head because they were trying to break the window to get out. And we finally made it out, ran up the hill. And then once we made it up the hill, we heard the second time.
Every Wednesday.
Did the gunfire break out a second time?
Yeah.
Now, what the police say is that a lot of lives were saved in that bar last night by the actions of two police officers. One of them, a highway patrol officer, actually, who was carrying out a traffic stop nearby, heard the shooting and responded to that bar. And also a sheriff sergeant called Ron Heelis, the first one to go inside, who was killed in the shooting. He was shot multiple times, having entered the bar with that highway patrol officer. A man who is due to retire next year, 29-year veteran of the Sheriff's Department, married with a son, and clearly difficult for the Sheriff's Department and for the Sheriff himself, who's a friend of Ron Heelis, to be dealing with that loss as well as the other loss of life inside that bar. We're also told there were as many as 6 off-duty police officers in the bar, unarmed, we believe, at the time of the shooting. But the actions of those officers outside and those who responded clearly made a big difference and will have saved a number of lives, even as this community deals with the lives that have been lost.
Greg Milam, thank you. The mother of 7-year-old Alfie Dingley, who was granted a special licence for cannabis oil to treat his epilepsy, says they're on the verge of running out. Hannah Deacon says despite a change in the law around the use of medicinal cannabis, getting a prescription for her son has been almost impossible.
Obviously, now the law has changed. She doesn't need a licence anymore, which is what the email said from the Home Office, that because the law has changed, Alfie doesn't need a licence. But basically, as we all know, the law may have changed, but the NHS guidelines and the reliance on professional bodies that say that nothing other than pharmaceutical double-blind placebo-trialled oils can be prescribed means that there is no doctor in this country brave enough at the moment to seem to come out and prescribe, which is, you know, the place that we all find ourselves in. And all the 17 families that I am helping at the moment are all in a position where their children are seizing all day, every day.
Sky's health correspondent Paul Kelso has the news.
Typical, isn't it? I wanted to play that bit as well because that goes with the cannabis story I mentioned in the podcast previously. There you can see the law's been changed, but the NHS is still not giving it out. So sometimes it's not laughable, but just the incompetence of human beings. And anyway, I found some of the interviews on YouTube. I don't know how many to go. Let's see if I can actually hear it. It's where's volume gone? ABC. These are the two girls.
Within the last few moments,
they were
Kano, what are you
smiling.
learning? Oh, actually, we'll pause for that. But we do have some people who were inside of the building when the shooting started. Here's what they had to say.
We were just dancing on the floor. We heard a couple shots. I told, her to get down, all my friends to get down. We went in behind we stayed behind the stage and got out, went through the kitchen, went through the back door. She got out. I went in, got some more people to get out. We just tried to get out, get behind a car, get behind something, and then...
Yeah, we just tried to take cover.
I mean, from there, all we did was just kind of sit there and wait and just kind of play Doug, I guess. And just sat there and waited until the sheriffs came out.
Just hoping that we could get out and looking for all of our friends. And
Did you see him at all?
we were dancing and I saw someone walk in, and then after that I saw shots go off and we just got down. It was such a blur, it just happened.
And just like he was shooting everything from the speakers to anything, so we really saw was just smoke, and we just saw the shots taking off, so we just tried to get down as fast as we could and get out of there.
And you were dancing, and then you heard the shots, and you dropped to the ground.
Yeah. So essentially there was a line dance going on. We got out there. I heard the shots. and everyone kind of just got down and started freaking out, running around. I just told her to get down, get out. Let's just move. We need to get out of here before, anything gets happened. We don't know where he's coming from, where the shots were, or anything. So that's all. That's all we just try to do is try to get ourselves out safe, and then try to get everyone else safe out safe after that.
What did you think those noises were when you first heard them?
I knew they were gunshots. I'm prior military, so I knew what they sound like. Everyone, I think, had a good idea on what they were because everyone dropped to the ground pretty quickly. That's all I got. Everyone just kind of trampled out of there as quick as possible. They broke windows and got out of the kitchen.
How you got the kitchen?
We got through at the back gate to the kitchen to the loading dock. But I know some people went through and knocked out with the stool through the window to get out that way. I know people went up to the attic above the bar. So they just try to find any type of cover in any ways at all.
What was going through your mind when you heard that first shot?
Just to get my friends out safely. Just to get them out. I just wanted her to get out safely. I don't really care what happens after that.
Did you tell what kind of weapon it was?
I don't know. All we know, I think it was a semi-automatic. Yeah. I just heard, 18 to 20 rounds at a time. That's all I heard before I got out.
That's an insane amount. And first of all, we all just want to thank you for coming to talk to us and telling us.
The sheriff there in Ventura County calling this a tragic situation, saying multiple calls came in around.
Let's see if there's any others. This is when the sheriff. I thought he made a mistake when he talked about the police officer. I don't know if they.
With Jeffrey Dean, the sheriff, who was fighting back tears. Listen.
And there were multiple other victims of different levels of injury inside that were rescued from the scene and taken to local hospitals. In addition to the victims inside, and the numbers are upwards of 10 to 12, additional victims with minor injuries fled the scene on their own and took themselves to local hospitals.
They edited it out.
The sergeant passed away at the hospital.
I thought. Sorry, I'll pause there. I didn't think he actually meant to say that bit. They edited out the stumble that he made. Alright, this is one of the guys that I thought it was a little bit actorish.
At this point, but we know it was just absolutely horrific, and there are hundreds of people inside line dancing on the dance floor when this gunman came in. Let's hear from one of the witnesses right now.
I was to the front door. I was talking to my stepdad, and I just started hearing these big pops, pop, pop, pop. There was probably 3 or 4. I hit the ground. I look up. The security guard's dead. Or I don't want to say dead, but he was shot. He was down. And the gunman was throwing smoke grenades all over the place. I saw him point to the back of the cash register. And he just kept firing. I ran out the front door. I hear chairs being thrown out the window. People were trying to get out the window. And the gunman went behind the cash register. There was probably 12 shots before I got out the front door. And I go out, I come back in to see if my stepdad's okay. I hear him yelling and I ran. But the gunman, he had a beard. He looked Middle Eastern or so. He was wearing a hat, black jacket. I think he had glasses on, like prescription glasses. He had a big handgun, and shots were just firing.
Are you okay?
I was closest. The security guard was closest to the front door. The 2 people behind the cash register were closest to the front door. I was the next person closest to the front door. I thought it was a joke when the shots started firing. And I know people there. I hope everybody's okay. I don't know how I didn't get shot.
Do you come to this bar a lot?
Yeah, here and there. It's a local spot. There's one of maybe 3. Yeah, quite a bit.
And you knew more people that were inside already?
Yeah.
Have you heard from anybody?
No. My friend that works behind the bar wasn't working tonight. But from what I've been told, there's still people in there, and it's an active shooter.
And of course, it is no longer an active shooter situation. That interview from earlier, the gunman is now dead.
So we got the it's a joke, and you also got the Middle Eastern. So it was him that gave the Middle Eastern thing. Lucky I got that. Surprised they left that in. This must have been, when was this put on? This was probably put on before they knew it was a white guy. I bet this won't last up. I'll put it on the companion, just on YouTube if you do want to watch it. I don't know if there's any more interviews. There's the old guy as well. He's even worse. I don't know if that's the step he's talking about. This one is the one that saved everyone. I'm sure we're going to hear this.
Michelle, we're talking with Matt here. He was inside. He helped save some people too. And Matt, again, tell us, you heard the shots, you saw the suspect. Describe it.
Basically heard the shots. It was a tall, probably 6'2", 6'3", dark figure, all black with his hood on, and he basically was unloading, and all I did was grab as many people as I could and pull them underneath the table, and then until I heard the shots, until I heard a break in the shots, and then we got people out of there as much as we could.
It sounds like you smashed the window out.
Yeah, we did.
Describe that.
Bar stools go through windows. It works.
I mean, I interviewed somebody who went through that window. You helped get them out, so you pulled a lot of people out. It sounds like.
That's all we could do. The only thing that I could have wished for is to have something better than a bar stool.
What did this guy look like?
Tall, built, bigger figure, maybe wearing a vest or something, possibly. All dark, blacked out.
And what was he armed with, could you see?
A smaller caliber handgun with a light or a laser attachment on the bottom end. That's all I could see.
Any idea how many shots were fired?
Probably 10 to 15 in the first round, and then after that we got out the window, and it wasn't until we were probably halfway down the parking lot until we heard shots again, and then another break, and then lots of shots, and I think at that point it was police and him back and forth.
And how long did that ordeal go on for?
By the time we got people down to the street, that was probably a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. And then we ran back in, and we were just pulling stragglers who were still in the parking lot, calling people, and we were like, you need to get out of here right now.
How many people did you get through that window?
We probably pushed 30 or 35 people through that window.
Wow. And was this person shooting at you guys while you were doing this?
He was not shooting at us, not that I know of. No one around me was going down. He was focused more on that front area until he got done with that.
It sounds like you knew pretty quickly what was going on.
As soon as I looked up and as soon as I heard the shots, I knew exactly what was going on. And
there's confusion, it's crowded, there's music, but you figured it out pretty quickly. Why?
Instinct, I guess. That's all that I could do, but it was just I'm here to protect my friends, my family, my fellow humans, and I know where I'm going if I die, so I was not worried to sacrifice. So all I wanted to do was get as many people out of there as possible.
We heard smoke bombs were falling around.
I heard that also, but by the time we were out of there, he hadn't thrown anything, and it hadn't gotten there yet.
Sir, we can see that you're blood on your shirt.
Not mine. When we were going back to grab more people, someone was being pulled out with a chest wound, and the guys carrying him were tired, and so we took over and carried him to the paramedics. That's the only person that I actually came in contact with that had an injury from the attacker.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here.
Yeah, I don't need to hear that. So I don't think I'm going to be able to find the guy. The old guy. I can't see him there. I'm not surprised that he's not on here. It was pretty bad. I'm going to put California because this was ABC. Let's see, do we have anything? I think with this one. Yeah.
A
deadly mass shooting. The deadliest mass shooting in this country in 12 days. 12 people murdered, including a sheriff's deputy, when a gunman opened fire inside a Southern California bar that was filled with college students. They were line dancing. More than a dozen others were injured. The suspected gunman, as of now, we have learned, is dead.
Police say that there were hundreds of people inside the bar, which was hosting a weekly college country music night. So you can imagine the age range of the folks inside there. Witnesses describe a scene of sheer panic. People were ordered to get down on the ground once the gunshots rang out. Many were breaking windows, throwing chairs through windows in order to escape. Many were hiding. CNN's Nick Watt is live at the scene in Thousand Oaks, California, with all of the breaking details. What's the latest at this hour, Nick?
Well, Alison, as you say, 11 people now confirmed dead from inside that bar. And a number of the people who we've been speaking to outside here had black X's on their hands, which means that they were below drinking age. Now, one young man that I spoke to said that he heard the gunshots ring out. He didn't hear the gunman say anything either before he opened fire or during his volley of shots, but there was an opening volley and then there was a pause. And during that time, this young man and others got out from under the pool tables and bar tables they were hiding under, through bar stools, through the windows. Some people escaped through those windows, others through the kitchen, others through the loading dock, others into a sort of attic area in that club. Now, in terms of the gunman himself, he is also now confirmed dead, found dead inside of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. We do not have an identification on him, so we do not have a motive. He was described as wearing dark clothing, perhaps some sort of hat, glasses. He had a beard. He was carrying a short-barreled handgun, and we hear from the sheriff that they have found one firearm inside that club. Now, another victim, the 12th victim, was a sheriff's sergeant who arrived on the scene within 2 or 3 minutes of the first calls coming in. He and a California highway patrolman tried to enter the club, and they were met with a hail of gunfire. The sergeant was hit. The California highway patrolman managed to drag him out of the line of fire, but that sergeant died in the hospital nearly 2 hours ago. Now, let's hear a little bit from some eyewitnesses who saw what happened.
I heard the gunshot. I turned around and I saw him shoot a couple more times. And within a split second, everyone yelled, "Get down." So I ran to the left of the dance floor where the back door is. My head, because they were trying to break the window to get out.
I just started yelling, "John, John, let's go, let's go." And so we ran to the car, and that's when we saw the sheriff pulling up. And I believe that's the sheriff that lost his life. And I want to say I'm so sorry for his family. He was a brave man to come into those shots, because it was a scary situation for everyone. It really was. And the young kids, they were just having a good time, you know, enjoying themselves. None of them deserve this at all.
Now, authorities, the FBI is here, the ATF...
That's a different interview, so obviously they go around interviewing people more than once. Let's just check this one.
Well, for one large group of people in and said he and others inside the bus.
It's the second time in about a year and a month that this has happened. I was at the Las Vegas Route 91 mass shooting, as well as probably 50 or 60 others who were in the building at the same time as me tonight. It's a big thing for us. You know, we all are a big family, and unfortunately,
that concert in Las Vegas last October was part of...
Doesn't look like I'm going to be able to find that interview. I'm not surprised it's not on it. Oh, I heard this one as well. I can't remember what this one said.
At this hour, parents are still looking.
Not this one. What's the other one that said about it being a joke? Was it these?
I was in there, probably only been in there for half an hour, maybe 40 minutes, still saying hi to people, still getting the night going. And then I heard shots, and that's not a noise that you mistake for anything else. Loud music, and it was still, I heard the shots and looked to where the shots were coming from, and saw a tall, probably 6'2", 6'3" figure dressed in dark clothing with a handgun. and he was opening fire on whoever was standing behind the front counter that you pay to get in. You pay the cover fee to get in.
Did he seem like he was targeting anyone in particular?
I probably saw him for maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds at most, before I went into like protection mode, and it was whoever
That's a
was
good point,
right
actually.
there.
You wouldn't be sort of
behind the
standing
counter,
around like
and then in that
observing
close
the person, would you? I suppose if they got too much information, that does look a little bit. So where's this guy? I'm not going to find him again, am I? I know there was more than one that said they thought it was a joke, which counters where everyone else is saying, you know, definitely couldn't see it as anything else. It's a serious matter. Let's see. YouTube keeps jumping back to the beginning. Same people you keep seeing over and over again. The one I want, he's not there. Let me pause you for a second. Alright, looks like I can't find that. So, but he was talking about, he was an oldish guy. You heard his voice before, but he kept sort of. He looked. I mean, I know this sounds bad because he may be genuine, and it's a bit wrong for me to sort of question his validity. But he just looked like he was acting. You know, just the way he was trying to cry, his visual expressions. But maybe that's just how he is. Some people, you know, they do react differently. I mean, I don't know. I guess it'd be unfair to me because all I've seen is movies, and you know, a bad actor is just a bad actor. Whereas I haven't seen enough real crisis footage. When I say crisis footage, I mean like real events. You know, physically, I haven't seen it to know how people would react. You know, it might be that he was witness to it, but he, you know, like when people feel that they need to cry, or, you know, they turn, you know, they get too emotional without controlling it. I don't know, but it would have been interesting so you could hear that, so that you can judge for yourself. Anyway, I'm sure it's going to be repeated somewhere. Maybe I'll find it eventually and add it on YouTube to John Doyle Poems on the Companion to the Pursuit of Truth. Alright, that's enough for me. Take care, take it easy. God bless and peace.